hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. The entire advertising industry is currently grounded and is at home. What's the current ground reality of production houses? What's the kind of fatalities that one expects? And to answer all these very grave questions, I'm joined by industry luminaries. And let me, without any further ado, introduce my very, very illustrious panel, starting with Prasoon Pandey, Ram Madhvani, Cyrus Pagdiwala, Prakash Varma, and Sneha Varman. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me right here on Brand Equity. You know, shooting like this for all of you and me, because all of you are, very prominent directors, producers, might be very odd, as it is for me, and it's also very frustrating. But the mobile, shoots which we're seeing and which is, advertised everywhere, this cannot possibly be a long-term solution. So first things first, let me dive straight into the question. And my first question to you, Prasoon. What's the current reality now with production houses and the entire community which, makes a living through these shoots? And how many production houses can survive this kind of pause we are looking at? Do you think all of them have that kind of muscle that many large and reputed production houses such as yours might have?
No, Shonali, it is, of course, it is a grave situation. And right now what we are doing is only trying to solve the communication problem. That some brands want to reach out to the audience even under this lockdown. That's the only part that we are addressing right now when we are shooting on cell phones and across houses and stuff like that. But this is not going to provide employment to all the people down the line, all the carpenters and the lighting boys and the makeup people and the vanity vans and the catering, you know what all comes here. So employment is a huge issue right now, because this way of working is not going to, people will be thrown out of their homes at this rate.
Sure. Let me take it to you, Cyrus, in terms of, what you're witnessing on ground. You're also at the helm of ASAP. And so who better than you to give us a realistic assessment of how the grounded production houses are really coping with this pause?
Sonali, it's quite a bad situation, and most production houses are calling each other. They're calling me quite regularly to figure how do we see this how do we see ourselves coming back into the game. It's an extremely tricky question because there are no answers. We really don't have a cure for anything, and when we go back into production, at what rate can we start it? What are the new realities? What is the new normal? We'll have to figure as we move along. And everyone's hoping and praying that they don't have to shut shop. So to that extent, I'm actually fairly optimistic, and I do believe that this is a small I can't say it's a small blip, but I hope that it's a small blip. That 6 months down the line, we should be able to kind of reinvent ourselves and move back to reality, move back to our normal businesses. I hope I'm true. According to analysts, I would be terribly wrong, but I hope I'm true.
Even according to me.
We may have to take certain precautions and do certain things, but I hope, India being such a phenomenally large population, we are able to kind of come back surely, steadily. We still have a lot of consumerism within us. So to that extent, clients, advertisers should be able to recover fast enough. And if they recover fast enough, I am assuming that advertising as a whole, including production, recovers fast enough.
Well, I hope that's actually true, but I do think you're being a little too optimistic. Let me take it to Ram, who's, a veteran in the industry. And I think, if I'm not wrong, you're the oldest amongst the group here? Not by age, by experience?
I'll duck that question, Shonali. I'm going to call ourselves the youngest, oldest. So, So no, I just joined like very recently. I just joined this industry and started making ads much younger than Prasoon and Cyrus and Prakash and Sneha. And I want to be younger for sure.
What's your assessment, given all the ups and downs, the sector has seen, production has gone through? Will they be able to survive? All of you on the panel are illustrious production houses, reputed directors, reputed producers, but a large section of the production industry is not. So what's your sense?
Well, I think no matter what scale that you're at in your career, the problem of what is facing us today is actually the same for everybody. I don't think that anybody has the kind of pockets to last out what we are lasting out. Everybody at different scales has different responsibilities of paying people, and therefore there is the internal production house issues, and of course there is the external issues about the people that you in a way support, which are the regular people that you work with. But even the people who are inside Equinox, let's say for a moment, Amita is my wife and co-producer, and Manoj is my co-producer. We have conversations with our CFO Raja literally every couple of weeks to see, okay, how are we going to manage this? Are we going to, and nobody actually has pockets which are deep enough to last beyond, I presume, a couple of months. And so it's really got to that stage where you, when work comes in, and we have been lucky, that we have, my other directors, Nitin and Sandeep, have had, obviously at post-COVID budgets, but we have had work coming in. And when that work came in, obviously that work helps because it helps not just us, but yes, we do have a cameraman, even though people are shooting from home. We do have a DOP, we do have a costume person, we do have, people that we've hired. And so therefore, it helps the economy, it helps people, it helps work when even the kind of, iPhone or the, sort of camera shooting that we've been doing. The other thing that I found is that clients actually are not really interested in how you're shooting. They're really interested in, I think people get used to that very fast, the novelty of that. They're really interested in the communication, what is the problem that is being solved in the communication. And I think that's really heartening that it's not really the technology that we're looking at, but it's actually what we're doing, which is we're in the communication business, we're in the feelings business, we're in the emotional business. And so therefore, when I'm talking to clients and seeing the work that we're doing, and I myself have been working and editing a commercial while we're doing all of this, I find that the agencies and the clients are eventually looking at what matters, which is, are we reaching out to people no matter what?
We've heard three of the panelists. Give me your view on two things. Let's take the cue from Ram. He's saying advertisers are very happy, with the fact that they can still communicate. And it doesn't matter how, as long as the message is being reached. Would you say that's the new normal? So are you saying remote working is the new normal for production, and this is acceptable now? Will things go back to normal, and will we go back to large-scale productions as we did see earlier?
Well, Sonali, this is really not an ideal situation for anyone, and I think production suffers the most. I mean, if you look at it top-down, theoretically, production houses get hit because we are at the bottom end of the food chain, because if the client doesn't have the money, then it's likely that the advertising agency and the advertiser, and therefore then us, get hit first. That said, I think, like Cyrus mentioned, India is a fairly resilient country, and that's what we're hoping, because there are clients, again, like Ram said, who want to be in touch with their customer base, and they want to connect and make it seem like they care and they are concerned and they are around. So this is a time to sort of rehash how we think, and our approach has to sort of be, we have to get on the road running and just find ways and means to support them primarily. That said, I think as an entrepreneur, my first concern is to take my team along to make sure that anybody who orbits our life and, it depends on us for sustenance, We somehow manage to keep them going for as long as we can. I don't think we have any room for luxuries anymore. So it's going to be tight, but it's definitely one where we can adapt. And I think adapting is the key word here. All of us have to find a way to adapt.
Right. Prakash, how difficult has it been for a production house like yours, convince clients to continue and convince, and of course, advertising agencies and clients at large, all the stakeholders to continue the process of shooting, continue the process of engaging, however hard this might be, and, use the current resources we have to just continue to conduct business. How tough has that been? Are advertisers renegotiating deals with agencies and producers specifically to ensure that, okay, you're shooting from a mobile phone, so I won't pay you as much, because a large-scale production, the resources are very different. How much is that hitting the entire industry's bottom line? And how long can we go on for like this, in this pause mode, for people to still stay afloat?
Yes, Sonali, the thing is, when it comes to convincing a client about the thing, for me as a storyteller, I look at an idea if that is possible to communicate. And currently, as Prasoon said, it will be just a basic communication. I think the comprehension of the film will be clear. And that's the only focus that as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, that you can actually focus on. So we just make sure that the story is communicated well. I too hope that this will all change, and this got to change, because this is a very, very big industry with so many people. It's just not about producers and directors. There are so many people involved in an industry like this. So it is very important to bring things back, and I'm sure in some many countries in fact started shooting with social distancing and very minimal crew, and I'm sure it is also possible very soon, even in our country, maybe just having just creating ideas which will just have maybe one or two people or three or four characters, whether it is indoor or outdoors, but I'm sure definitely not with a large crowd. But I think it is important for also agency creative to think something which is effective, powerful communication, but simple idea, where so many people are not required for the time being, at least for next 2-3 months. But I'm sure it'll all open up soon.
So I was just saying, on the budget front, yes, there has been a crunch because our entire modality of working has changed. So we definitely cannot, and the numbers of people involved on shoots and just putting this whole exercise together has changed. So the way we cost for it has also changed across the board. We have to look at effective means so that our teams are not, doing just favors to us because they know us, but they do get remunerated. They are rewarded for the work and effort they put in. But yes, budgets have slashed quite a bit. Come down quite a bit, yes.
Prasoon, answer this for me. Now that, clients have got a taste of the fact that they are able to do this like this, and they are able to do this influencer marketing, which is currently just filling up our Instagram feeds and our Facebook feeds and whatnot, and the fact that they can do it cheaper, right? Is it going to impact their future decisions? I hope not, but what do you think? Because given the fact that they themselves will be so hard hit, whether it be in terms of the demand side, the economy opening up, their own losses, do you think they have tasted something they should have ideally not tasted, and now that they have tasted it, we don't know how the future is going to look?
No. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about people having tasted that, yes, it can be put together extremely cheaply also. The first part of your question was, how are we coping with it? Well, I'm actually enjoying that part. I like the idea that there is a new challenge and we have to figure out something else. Okay. Now put that aside, because that is only the creative excitement that you get out of it. There is a larger issue, but that there is only a certain type of scripts that can be done like this. So what will happen is, advertising is a business where you need to cut the clutter. So for a while people would be doing this, and then you'll realize that, you know, this kind of restrained work, which is indoors and very few people and all, everybody is doing it. And then you want to cut the clutter. And then when you want to cut the clutter, you'll start thinking of more complicated ideas. Okay, so, you know, to give you an example, it is not possible right now, say, whatever you do, for the next 1 year, you cannot do a film like, say, Fevicol Dahi Handi, that's 200 people on top of each other. Okay, so people will not be writing that. But I think as soon as things start opening out, people will feel the need to start writing different stuff, because everything would start looking, already there is a lot of stuff which is on air, which is all looking like each other, you know. And in advertising, you cannot afford to do that. You have to cut through the clutter, you know.
Sure.
So I'm not worried that they have tasted this. Yes, till if people do not have the money, they do not have the money. You know, we have to live with that. There is no, you know, you can't say no, somehow we must get commercial, you know, money for commercial. If the client is struggling, then we have to fit within that scenario. But as things start opening out, the client will feel the need to stand out. And if you want to stand out, you have to do things differently. And, you know, you'll slowly get back to, you know, I'm also optimistic. Slowly, eventually you'll get back. I'm not too sure that we'll get back there in a year, but yeah, of course we'll get back there.
Okay, so then let me ask the question which everybody is waiting to hear the answer to. I'm not sure if you guys have it, but Cyrus, is there a plan to resume shooting? Has there been any dialogue by ASAP, you know, with the government? I know, like, there are some countries which have started, for instance, Malaysia, and they have some measures in place and some guidelines with which they can start. Is that something we are looking at? If yes, what are those timelines?
Sonali, we've been in discussion with all stakeholders in the industry. We've also been speaking to the Chief Minister's office. At this point in time, they've kind of relegated us to the complete back. I mean, we are backbenchers in that sense. It seems at this point in time that end of June or the beginning of July is probably the first time they may review the situation. Nothing currently in the pipeline. If things improve, then yes, end of June, beginning of July is when things may be able to resume.
But isn't that also a very optimistic outlook? Don't you think that end of June, July, given that the government doesn't look at this industry with as much urgency as the others?
It's an industry where people don't look at it as an essential service, and so we're not given the biggest priority. But having said that, we do employ about 4.5 lakh labor force. So somewhere the government will have to step up and notice it. We've been writing mails to them. We've been writing letters to all of them. FWIC, which is kind of the central union, they've been writing letters to the Chief Minister's office and to the BMC as well. And somewhere we've got kind of an indication that towards the end of June they will review the situation. As of now, yes, that is extremely optimistic, but I would like to believe that that's the way to go. We've also, as ASAP, what we've done is we've studied all sorts of other industries all over the world and how they're about to start up. We are preparing our booklet, which would kind of be more realistic for what we can do in India. We obviously can't, take on a sample piece from Europe or from US and adapt it straight for us. We will look at all those things, and we'll form our own rules and regulations of what can be done.
Sneha, if you can bring to the fore what kind of casualty this industry will see in the short, medium and long term, and break that up so that one just knows what we're dealing with.
Well, in the short term, I think the first thing is to take stock of what you have in your kitty and make that last as long as you can, which means for everybody, I think it's just stock checking to see if you've billed everybody, whether your payments have come in, whether you can sustain over the next few months, carry all the people along that you can, etc. For every entrepreneur, whether it's a lighting guy or whether it's a camera person, camera team, or whether it's a production company. I think everyone at the helm of affairs is just basically trying to take stock and see how much you can pull through. The next midterm plan would probably be to see how many yeses you can say to all kinds of work that come in. I don't think anyone can afford to be choosy, which means that you would just agree and find ways to take on work wherever it's coming from, just so that you sustain, especially if you're at the end of the spectrum there. The third one in the long term is definitely a positive view. I think that we are a jugaad economy. We will find ways and means to push through, pull through, and we will do what it takes. We're a hardworking lot. And I don't think none of us, I think, have that defeatist mentality. We will want to be up and about.
In my opinion, while, yeah, sure, it's great to be optimistic and hope for the best, I think one also needs to prepare for the worst. And if you look at every sector, I think sectoral report predictions are pretty bleak, which is why, I'm wondering what the production sector and the production industry really is going to face in the next 6 to 8 months. How much unemployment are we really going to see of the entire industry? It is impossible that, people will continue to earn a living if production houses are not making money. We've already seen in the last 2 months a lot of people out of jobs. I don't know how unions are dealing with it. Maybe you can throw some light, Prakash or Cyrus or whoever has a point of view on it. But can somebody throw light on these points of, of sustainability? Of course, the top of the food chain and the rich and the famous will have the staying power to pull through this. My question largely is, as you guys as industry leaders, what's happening to the others who cannot?
I have a feeling that, at a conservative level, you lose at least 30% of your workforce, be it, by and large, we do tend to work a lot with freelancers. And some of the luxuries we could afford earlier, where we had a certain number of assistants or managers, etc. on set, because the budgets will be constrained, we'll have to reduce those numbers to a fairly large extent. I would say you would look at about 30% to 50% reduction in in the general numbers that one is talking about.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks for those numbers. Prasoon, I'm running out of time, but last words from you and Ram, maybe closing words very briefly on, current phase we're in and your expectations from the future as people who've seen quite a lot in this industry.
I think as an entire body of people, we will have to find new ways of working around it, because social distancing would obviously mean whenever we start shooting, it would be fewer people. But union requirements till now have been that you must take a certain amount of people. And I'm sure we'll have to sit together and figure out that, that means you just cannot shoot, okay? Because you cannot bring so many people in. And I'm sure what was a stance till now would then eventually begin to change. So a lot would change in the way we work, but we'll find a way around it.
On that positive note, thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. Let's hope and pray that this industry, which is very critical to advertising at large, is able to crawl back into action and, become the industry that it used to be before we were attacked by the unthinkable. Thank you so much once again.